Okay, easy, easy. They're gonna run now. So he's just not used to. Oh, too late. Usually if one goes, they all go. Are the dogs out or something? He wants the grain. Let's walk over to him and see if he comes back. He's doing wind sprints right now for some reason in very slushy snow.
Thank you to Mudwater for sponsoring today's video.
I was supposed to leave this full while we were making the ad here, and I drank the entire glass. To me, there's nothing better than coming outside, sitting on the front porch, starting the day with a warm, healthy mug of Mudwater. We don't drink coffee, but the caffeine in coffee can be pretty short-lived. You end up crashing and you end up getting the jitters, and with mud, I don't ever get that.
You can have all-day energy without the crash.
In the wintertime, obviously, it's easy to drink warm, but even in the summertime, we take the same mix that we have in the wintertime, just throw some ice cubes in it, and we've got an afternoon pick-me-up.
Mudwater is a Healthy Habits brand best known for its popular coffee alternative, cacao. It's got 4 functional mushrooms with only a fraction of caffeine as a cup of coffee. Each ingredient was added for a purpose: cacao and chai for a hint of caffeine, and hot chocolate-like flavor. Lion's mane for focus, cordyceps to promote natural energy, and both chaga and reishi to support a healthy immune system.
It is 100% USDA organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, and kosher. Mudwater is hooking up our viewers with a special offer.
Go to mudwater.com/redpoppyranch and get started for $29. That's MUDWTR.com/redpoppyranch.
Thank you, Mudwater. So, I think it's time to get back into finishing the shop. There's really not that much left to do. And now that it's warming up outside, it's supposed to be 48 degrees next week. We're going to have people that would benefit from having these bedrooms available. We're going to have friends and family come up this summer. And I need to get this done. I have a little tiny bit of rust repair left to do on the truck. And I'm going to squeeze that in wherever I can. But the problem with the way I like to stop in the middle of projects and do other things is I have to remember what I've got left to do before I just start throwing drywall up. I need a little bit of insulation in the ceiling up here. I think the bedroom upstairs needs a little bit of insulation, and then I can start hanging drywall. So this is the bathroom. This is the downstairs bedroom. Then we have another bedroom up here. One of the big concerns that I've been thinking about is there's supposed to be a tankless water heater on this side of the wall, which means if it gets down below freezing out here in the shop, those pipes will be vulnerable to freeze. And so I was going to build a cabinet to put the tankless water heater in. It's all about the vent, where I'm going to go with the vent. And this would have been the easiest place to install it and run the vent out the side of the shop. But I don't want that water heater to be vulnerable to freezing, and so I think I'm actually going to move the water heater in here on this wall in the bathroom, and then everything is contained in the bathroom, and really all I have to do is keep the bathroom above 32 degrees and everything's fine. So I've got to relocate the water line and the gas line at some point, but my focus for today is going to be on the drywall in this downstairs bedroom and see if we can't get this buttoned up down here once and for all. Well, as much as I don't like doing drywall, I think I like doing rust repair on old Ford trucks even less. And it's about time to get the shop finished up. Soon enough it's going to be warm, things are going to dry out, and we're going to have family and friends that would love to come hang out if we had a couple more bedrooms and a little bit more elbow room so everybody can be more comfortable. All that's left to do is to finish the drywall downstairs, finish the bathroom, finish the upstairs drywall, blow in some insulation over the top of the shop, and then find the infamous pool table. If you've been paying attention as I've been working on that old Ford truck, I've used a propane heater to knock the edge off on the cold mornings because the shop heater that I installed can't warm the place up fast enough because right now there's still no insulation in the attic. So once I get everything buttoned up, paint, drywall, plumbing, the shop attic will get insulated. The very first winter after buying our land, I hadn't even started on the house yet, but I had started on the shop. I took a 2-month break from coming up here because it was a hard winter, but as things started to dry out in town, I loaded up my trailer full of materials and decided to make the trek up to the property, knowing the road was muddy, but still thinking I could get that trailer load of materials where it needed to go. The end result is I would have to unhook from that trailer load of materials and leave it halfway up our road for the next 3 months until things dried out enough to where I could get it up to our place and actually use it.
Dropping and going.
Huh?
Dropping and going.
Where are you going?
Back to finish the house. We didn't get it finished and the kids didn't want to stay. They were freaking out.
So kids are in there? I'm gonna go in this. While digging the trail up the side of the mountain, the muffler on the excavator decided it was done. Rather than buying a new one, I'm going to rebuild it real quick. If I ordered a replacement muffler from Bobcat, it would only cost me $500, so I'm going to rebuild this old muffler with some heavier steel, so hopefully this doesn't happen again. We are coming up on nearly 10 years since my wife and I made the decision to move from the Metro Phoenix area to southeastern Idaho. And while I tell myself if somebody had stopped me and explained to me how hard things were going to be, maybe I would have slowed down just a little bit and put some serious thought into what I was about to do. But the idea of living completely off-grid hadn't even crossed my mind at that point yet. All that I knew was I needed to get my family out of Arizona and to Idaho. That was the first step. Once we found the beautiful little small town that we wanted to spend the rest of our lives living in, I began to drive around and look at land. When I found the land that we would later purchase and now live on full time, I told myself, there's a reason why nobody lives up there. And then just weeks after purchasing the land, I was working one day cutting down some trees, and someone stopped by and told me, "You'll never be able to live full time up here, you know that, right?" I said to that person, as well as a whole bunch of other people, "Challenge accepted. Watch and see." 8 years later, we're not going anywhere.
Where's that crack right here?
Or on the edge of the bowl.
Cedar found what's called a fairy egg, and Reed wants to crack it.
No yolk.
Callie, come here.
Just egg white.
Look at her. It's an egg.
Almost every day I walk outside, I think to myself, our life would be easier if I had simply found a piece of flat ground to live on instead of the side of a mountain. But as fast as I think that thought, I remind myself how boring that would be. And I don't like boring. I like challenges, and I love using my brain to try and figure things out, especially when no one has come before me and I have to figure this out first. But after saying all that, please listen to me when I say, pick the piece of ground that you're going to devote yourself to very carefully. By the way, the muffler rebuild turned out great. After rebuilding that muffler with 14 gauge steel and re-welding all the brackets and making sure it mounts correctly, now the excavator is ready to go back to work on the trail and get that finished up. Okay, easy, easy. They're gonna run now. So he's just not used to. Oh, too late. Usually, if one goes, they all go. Are the dogs out or something? He wants the grain. Let's walk over to him and see if he comes back. He's doing wind sprints right now for some reason in very slushy snow. People have asked me a dozen times why, and I don't know that I have a good excuse other than the fact that they're not goats. We've always had goats. I stumbled into somebody that owned the deer before me, and that kind of started the whole process.
Plus, they're just absolutely beautiful. If
I had known what I was about to get into, frankly, which represents almost everything I've done in the last 10 years of my life, I wouldn't have done it. I can tell you right now, I would not have done this because it's been just a steep learning curve. And so now that we're part of this process, I need to do it right. I need to make sure that...
You're getting attached to them, though. They're growing on you.
What I meant to say was the babies. Everybody talks about the one chance you have with fallow deer is when they're newborn babies, and so not only do I have to get out here and put ear tags on them and all that stuff right when they're born, but there's an opportunity to kind of imprint on the deer and to hopefully get them to where they're not so flighty. I've seen fallow deer bucks that were like puppy dogs that'll just follow you around. The does are almost always 25, 30 feet away from everything else. I haven't tasted fallow deer, but there's a deer farm on the other side of the state that at some point I'm going to go, and he sells the meat. And I think what I heard was in places like Jackson Hole, when deer is on the menu, it's fallow deer. And normally it's a really high protein. It doesn't taste, I haven't tasted it, but everything I've read about it says it's not strong like a deer.
Like a normal deer. We grew up eating deer in Arizona, and they would graze off a sagebrush, and so sometimes that deer was nasty.
What they're eating is going to determine what they taste like, and these guys are eating all the leaves and the flowers off the alfalfa. So they, at some point, I guess it would be an option for us to process one of these deer and see what it tastes like. But I don't know that that's the angle. They don't weigh that much. I think that buck might weigh 200 pounds. He's probably right around there. He's a big boy. He's the buck that has bred. We now have a few does. We haven't talked a whole lot about kind of what we've gone through in the last few months, and as it progresses, I think we'll talk about it more. But we have does that are pregnant by him. Now that we've got a few does and we've got a buck, you know, we need to just probably keep it simple around here for a while.
They're pregnant about 9 months, and depending on when they bred, for sure, it could be anywhere between June and August that we should expect to have.
Yeah, when we got them, when they were in the rut. That's right, when we got them, they were in the rut. And it was a little bit late. I would guess the deer are going to start having babies sometime in August. The different colors that are available with these fallow deer, there's white, there's spotted, there's chocolate, and there's just a variation of everything in between. I think there's 14 different variations. We've got a little bit of each of them. I can't wait. That's the part that I'm hoping to kind of break the cycle with the jerky deer, is when these little babies are born. Not only do we have to ear tag them and do some stuff, but that's an opportunity. If we can capture it right in that first few hours, it's an opportunity to get close to the deer, to imprint on them like you would with a horse,
to pet them, to touch them, to get that human interaction.
Yeah, and then see if we can break that cycle, because I know there are fallow deer out there that are way less jumpy than our deer. But the bottom line is Willie and Ruby are out here somewhere right now. They're wandering around, and as soon as the deer smell the dogs, we do our best to keep the dogs away from the deer. They're not allowed to come into the pen
or bark at them.
Yeah, they're not allowed to bark at them, any of that stuff. I've made some mistakes with these deer. We had a couple of deer get injured in the process of transporting them. One of the hardest parts about what I've gotten involved with is the simple fact that there's not very many people doing it, especially in my neck of the woods. And so, or if they are doing it, they're not talking about it a whole lot. And so a lot of this stuff I've had to learn the hard way. I like it. I'm into it. I'm really into it, just because it is kind of unique. But the fallow deer have been farmed. I think they say it's the oldest form of deer that's been farmed, you know, back to like I don't know, I read something that said like the 6th century or something like that. What I would like to have at some point down the road is a second pin up here on the hill that I can rotate them back and forth so the grass can actually have a chance to recover. But everything I do with these deer has to be secured. It has to be done in a way where they can't ever get loose. You know, we've invested some money into this, and so we want to make the best out of it. But I make them work. Yeah, I kind of sprinkle it in there and make them work for it. There's the does down there. I will say that right when we first got them here, they were in the rut, and the noise that the bucks make is a very distinct noise. And even in the house, you know, all hours of the night, we would hear that super deep grunting sound. And I'm pretty sure they all got bred, so hopefully we have some babies running around in the fall, which I'm looking forward to. Willie. My plan with the shop is to have this set up to where people can comfortably hang out and really enjoy themselves, no matter what time of year it is, from the loft to the bedrooms to the bathroom. But one of the things that I'm seriously thinking about adding to that loft is a window looking right down on the deer. Not only will that window allow more light into that little loft area, but it will allow me to sit and observe the deer from the comfort of the shop without them knowing it. And this is something I'm looking forward to, especially once there's a bunch of little babies running around out there. Once all the drywall is done in both the bedrooms, I really need to get the insulation blown in before I paint. And then from that point on, it's a bunch of detail work with the bedrooms and the bathroom. But my goal is to turn that bathroom into some sort of a rustic country farmhouse, Red Poppy Ranch inspired bathroom. And that's going to involve some corrugated tin and some antiques. So on next week's video, the goal is to be completely done with drywall, maybe even started on paint, and to get that bathroom figured out. Be safe out there. We'll see you soon. All right, by Monday, I think I can get at least the first coat on the drywall, both in this bedroom as well as downstairs. I've still got to relocate that tankless water heater in the bathroom. I'm going to get that done, and my goal for next week really is to focus on that bathroom, get all the insulation done, all the green board hung, and then by the end of next week, I want to be totally finished with drywall in these bedrooms and that bathroom. The final finish in that bathroom is not going to be drywall, and so it doesn't have to be that fancy of a finish coat. But this bedroom upstairs, it is going to be a finish coat drywall. I haven't decided on that downstairs bedroom. I kind of want to do something fun with the texture on the walls, like some beadboard or something like that, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get to do that or not. But anyway, by the end of next week, I want to be totally ready for maybe nothing more than a little bit of sanding, but I want to be ready for paint. I'm making some progress now. I don't want to take my eyes off this project until it's totally finished. The weather's changing outside very rapidly. It's supposed to be almost 50 degrees next week, which is kind of crazy, which means it's going to be a muddy mess for a few days. But soon enough, I want to be able to get back over there in the excavator and finish that first part of that trail. Once the first part of that trail is finished, I can start the process of kind of carving around the other part of that trail, which will take me into the back of our property. But the ground is so soft right now. As a matter of fact, you can see that point right there is where the switchback will go back behind. So I should have a trail back behind that little butte. I guess you would call that a bald knob, a bald butte. I don't know what you'd call it. A bald knob is probably, that's what I like to call it. My dad was bald from the time he was about 16. I'm on my way for sure. That'll probably be the bald knob from this point on. But that's the place where I'm trying to get around the back of, and then I can start the curve that will go all the way around and drop me into the back of the property. So bedrooms get finished, bathroom gets finished, then we're gonna pick some flooring for the upstairs, for the loft. But the main thing is, once we start picking out flooring, I can't do any more rust repair out here in the shop. So I'm gonna have to squeeze in, fixing the back two cab corners. That's really all that I have left. I'm gonna have to squeeze that in somewhere, and then we're gonna clean the shop really well one last time. And then from that point on, I'm gonna have to be really selective about the projects that I bring into the shop, because the plan is to have a carpet up on the loft, and I can't do projects like this if we got carpet in here. So anyway, thank you guys for checking in on us, and we will see you in a week.